In the world of House of the Dragon, every flame, every whisper, and every choice carries weight. But nothing holds more power than a dragon's egg. These are not just relics of fire and scale, they are the very heart of the Targaryen legacy. And when Prince Daemon Targaryen, the rogue prince himself, risks everything to steal the dragon eggs of Syrax, Rhaenyra's dragon, he sets in motion a storm that would change the fate of his family, the realm, and the dragons themselves. But why? Why would Daemon, a man with his own dragon, Syraxes, and all the fire he could ever need, risk treason, war, and even death, just to take those eggs? What made Syrax's eggs so important that he would defy his brother, King Viserys, and the entire Iron Throne to claim them? Today, we're diving deep into the fire and fury, uncovering the real reason Daemon stole Syrax's dragon eggs, what they meant to him, and how this act became one of the most crucial turning points in Targaryen history. The fire within. Why dragon eggs matter. To understand Daemon's theft, we must first understand what dragon eggs mean in the world of Westeros. A dragon's egg isn't just a stone covered in scales, it's life itself. The Targaryens believe their blood and their dragons are one. Each egg carries the potential of an empire, a creature of fire, a weapon of war, and a symbol of divine power. When a Targaryen child is born, it's tradition to place a dragon egg in their cradle. If the egg hatches, it's seen as destiny, proof that the gods themselves favor the child. If it doesn't, it's a reminder that the fire within the family must always be rekindled through strength and will. So when Daemon steals Syrax's eggs, he's not just stealing pieces of Rhaenyra's dragon. He's stealing symbols of her future. The context. A kingdom in chaos. Let's go back to where it all began, before the dance of the dragons, before blood soaked the skies. At this time, Daemon was furious. His brother, King Viserys I, had denied him the throne, stripping him of his titles, and banishing him from court. To Daemon, this wasn't just a punishment, it was humiliation. He'd served as commander of the City Watch, brought law to King's Landing, and proven himself a warrior. Yet Viserys saw him as reckless, dangerous, and unfit to rule. So, Daemon fled, not in defeat, but in defiance. And where did he go? To Dragonstone, the ancestral seat of House Targaryen, a place where dragons still nested and their roars echoed through the mountains. There, Daemon made a bold declaration. He was the rightful heir, and he would marry his lover, Mysaria, the White Worm. And it's here that Syrax's eggs come into play. The theft. Daemon's bold move. In an act that shocked the realm, Daemon entered the dragon pit and took 3 dragon eggs, from the clutch of Syrax, Rhaenyra's dragon. These were not ordinary eggs. They belonged to Rhaenyra, the princess of Dragonstone, and they were meant for her future children, the heirs of House Targaryen. When King Viserys heard what Daemon had done, his fury was unmatched. He demanded that the eggs be returned immediately, calling the act a theft, a betrayal, and an insult to the crown. But Daemon didn't care. He told the realm that he took the eggs to place them in the cradle of his future child, with Mysaria, his supposed bride. Only, there was no child. And Mysaria, horrified by Daemon's reckless actions, left him soon after. So if Daemon wasn't doing this for a real child, then why did he do it? Deeper meaning. Daemon's real motives. Daemon Targaryen is one of the most complex men in the history of Westeros. On the surface, he's a warrior, a rogue, a man driven by pride and ego. But beneath that armor of arrogance lies something far more tragic, a desperate need for belonging. Daemon had always lived in his brother's shadow. No matter what he achieved, Viserys never truly trusted him. When Daemon stole the dragon eggs, it wasn't just rebellion, it was a cry for recognition. By taking Syrax's eggs, Rhaenyra's eggs, Daemon was making a statement. He wasn't just mocking the king, he was challenging the very order of succession. He was saying, if you won't make me heir, then I'll make my own dynasty. Those eggs symbolized creation, life, legacy, everything he'd been denied. By taking them, Daemon claimed power not through the Iron Throne, but through fire and blood. The symbolism of Syrax's eggs. But there's another layer to this act. one that strikes at the heart of House of the Dragon's most powerful themes. Syrax was Rhaenyra's dragon, bound to her since she was a child. She was golden, fierce, and loyal, a reflection of Rhaenyra herself. The eggs Daemon stole weren't random, they were Syrax's. And that means something deeply personal. At that time, Daemon and Rhaenyra shared a complicated bond, a mixture of affection, respect, and something far more dangerous, desire. By taking Syrax's eggs, Daemon was taking something intimately tied to her. It was both an act of defiance against her father and a show of possession, a subtle, fiery claim that connected him to Rhaenyra's future before the world even knew what they would become to each other. In other words, those eggs weren't just symbols of legacy. They were symbols of love, rebellion, and destiny. The confrontation at Dragonstone. When Viserys sent Otto Hightower and his soldiers to Dragonstone to retrieve the stolen eggs, Daemon stood at the edge of the castle walls, wearing his armor, sword at his side, and Caraxes looming behind him, wings spread, smoke curling from his nostrils. The scene was tense. Otto demanded the return of the eggs, calling Daemon a traitor and a fool. But Daemon didn't flinch. He smirked, mocking the king's hand, taunting him with every word. It was only when Rhaenyra herself arrived on Syrax that Daemon's facade cracked. She confronted him, not as a princess, but as the woman who understood him better than anyone. She told him to stop playing with dragons before he burned the world down. And in that moment, Daemon relented. He returned the eggs, quietly, almost remorsefully. Why? Because even in his rebellion, he couldn't bring himself to truly hurt Rhaenyra. Those eggs, after all, weren't just trophies, they were hers. Why Syrax's eggs were so unique? But what made Syrax's eggs so important in the first place? Why those eggs, and not any others from the dragon pit? The answer lies in bloodlines. Syrax was one of the most pure-blooded dragons alive at the time, directly descended from Balerion the Blackdread's line, through his offspring. Her eggs were among the few that still held the ancient fire of old Valyria, untainted and strong. Some maesters even whispered that Syrax's clutch was special, that one of those eggs was destined to hatch a dragon of immense power. So when Daemon stole them, it wasn't just about symbolism or pride, it was strategy. He was stealing the future of the Targaryen dragon line. If one of those eggs hatched under his own claim, he could forge a new branch of the family, one loyal to him alone. In a world where dragons equal power, those eggs were worth more than any crown. The fallout. The beginning of the end. Daemon eventually returned the eggs, but the damage was done. His relationship with Viserys never recovered. The king saw him not as a brother, but as a threat, a man willing to endanger the realm for his own ambition. And yet, the irony of it all is that years later, Daemon would marry Rhaenyra. The same woman whose dragon's eggs he once stole would become his queen. It's almost poetic that the man who once tried to steal her future would one day fight beside her to claim it. And when their own sons were born, new dragon eggs were placed in their cradles, perhaps even from the same clutch that Daemon once held in his hands. The cycle of fire continued. The hidden message behind the theft. So what's the deeper meaning behind Daemon's theft of Syrax?